The electric GLC is the most important car Mercedes has launched in years, because it carries the badge that already pays the bills. The combustion GLC is the brand's global bestseller, and turning it electric was never going to be a side project. What stands here on the Autoklass floor in Bucharest, finished in Patagonia red, is Mercedes trying to prove that the name still means something once the engine is gone. Instead of building something that screams about being electric, Mercedes built a car that looks like the GLC people already know, then changed almost everything underneath. From the front, the design choice that matters most is the grille. It is a single illuminated panel, sealed and patterned, and at night it lights up across its whole surface. This is the clearest signal that the car is electric, because almost nothing else about the shape shouts about it. Mercedes kept the proportions familiar on purpose. The body is longer than the combustion GLC by around 4 inches, and the extra length goes mostly into the wheelbase, which you feel later in the back seat. The black wheels and gloss trim on this car come from the styling package, and against the red paint, the contrast works better in person than it does in photos. Walk around to the side, and the electric GLC hides its size well. The roofline tapers gently into the rear glass. The door handles sit flush, and there are no fake vents, just one strong line running along the body. It is a restrained piece of design meant to age slowly rather than chase attention. At the rear, the full-width light bar and the star motif inside the lamps make the electric version easier to spot than the front does. The badge reads GLC 400, and the 4-matic script confirms this is the dual-motor car. The lower bumper is finished in gloss black with a diffuser look, which is decoration rather than function on an electric SUV, but it keeps the car from looking soft. There's even a small rear wiper, a practical touch that a lot of sleeker electric SUVs leave out, and on a family car that matters more than it sounds. Inside is where the GLC makes its real argument. The cabin on this car is finished in ivory beige leather against dark trim, and the first thing you notice is how bright it makes the space feel. The dashboard is dominated by a single glass surface that runs almost the full width of the car. On this top specification, it is the large continuous display Mercedes calls the Hyperscreen, and it is the widest screen the company has put in a car. It looks dramatic when it is lit, with the driver display, central screen, and a passenger screen all under one sheet of glass. There is one honest catch here, and you can see it the moment the screen goes dark. The glass shows every fingerprint, and on a surface this large, the smudging is hard to ignore. The recovery is that Mercedes brought back real physical controls on the steering wheel and a proper rotary dial, so you are not forced to smear the screen for every small adjustment, which is more than some rivals can say. The front cabin feels expensive in the way Mercedes interiors are supposed to. The seats are wide and softly shaped, and the driving position sits you low for an SUV. The metal trim around the console is real, not painted plastic, and it is cold to the touch in a way fake trim never gets right. The cup holders hide under a sliding cover so the surface stays clean when you do not need them. And there is a wireless charging pad and deep storage under the armrest. The door cards carry the same ivory leather, calm and coherent rather than flashy, and that suits the car. There is a feature buried in the menus worth pulling out. The panoramic roof can switch between clear and shaded electronically, and the control for it sits right in the climate menu, which means you change the mood of the whole cabin without a mechanical sunshade. On the version with the star pattern, the glass can also light up with tiny points after dark, which sounds like a gimmick until you sit under it at night and understand why people pay for it. If breakdowns like this help you decide what is worth paying for, subscribe so you catch the next one. The rear cabin is the part that benefits most from that longer wheelbase. Knee room is up by nearly 2 inches over the combustion car, and the flat floor means the middle seat is usable rather than a punishment. The bench splits and folds in a 40-20-40 pattern, so you can drop the center section for long items and still seat 2 in comfort. Rear passengers get their own air vents, separate climate controls, and a soft, well-shaped backrest. The one honest limit back here is the seat cushion itself, which is a little short under the thigh, so taller adults will want a bit more support on a long trip. Headroom is genuinely good despite the falling roofline, because the floor sits low and the battery is packaged cleverly underneath. The boot tells the practical story. With the seats up there is around 20 cubic feet of space, which is more than you get in the BMW iX3 and most of the direct rivals. The floor is adjustable and can be raised by a few inches, and underneath it there is a deep well that swallows the charging cables, so they are not rolling around the main load area. Then there is the front trunk. Pressing the badge on the hood pops it open, and inside is about 4.5 cubic feet, enough for 2 small bags or, more usefully, the cables you never want touching the boot carpet. The badge press detail sounds small, but it means you are not hunting for a lever in the footwell every time. And it is the kind of thing owners appreciate every single day. Under the surface, this is where Mercedes spent the money. The GLC 400 uses 2 motors for all-wheel drive, with a combined output of 483 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. That is enough for 0 to 60 in about 4.3 seconds, which is genuinely fast for a family SUV, though the way it delivers the power is calm rather than violent. There is no sudden lunge, just a deep, smooth shove that builds and keeps building. There is a 2-speed gearbox on the rear motor, which is unusual, and it helps the car stay efficient at higher speeds rather than just dumping all its torque at once. Top speed is 131 miles per hour. The chassis is where the electric GLC quietly borrows from much more expensive Mercedes models. It can be fitted with adaptive air suspension and rear axle steering, both lifted from the thinking behind the S-Class. The air suspension lets the car settle into a soft, floating ride and firm up when you ask more of it, while the rear wheels turning slightly make a car this size feel smaller in a car park and more stable on the motorway. It is not trying to be a sports SUV. It is trying to make every journey feel effortless. The battery is a 94 kilowatt-hour pack on an 800-volt system, and the official range is up to 443 miles. That is the number that needs honesty. It trails the BMW iX3, which uses a much larger battery to reach around 500 miles. The compensating truth is that the GLC charges fast enough to make the gap matter less, taking on up to 180 miles of range in 10 minutes at a fast charger. And it comes better equipped as standard, so the money you save on options can cover a lot of charging stops. Mercedes also includes a converter, so the car still works properly at the older 400-volt chargers that most public networks still use. It also tows up to 5,290 pounds, which is rare for an electric SUV, and turns this into a genuine alternative for people who pull a trailer or a caravan. The pricing on the show floor board here starts lower than the German list, which tells you the configuration matters enormously on this car. The entry trim already comes generously equipped, with the illuminated grille and the frunk as standard, while the top specification adds the full-width Hyperscreen and the panoramic roof. For most buyers, the smart money sits in the middle, where you get the look and the comfort without paying for every last screen. What this GLC really represents is Mercedes deciding that its most important model should feel like a Mercedes first and an electric car second. It is not chasing the longest range or the sharpest handling. It is selling calm, space, and the sense that the badge still earns its place. If that is what most buyers in this segment actually want, and the early signs say it is, then the electric GLC is going to sell in exactly the numbers Mercedes is counting on. For watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. Leave a comment below with your thoughts or questions. I read every single one. And don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified about my next upload. See you in the next video.